Now there are the basic shapes, which are circle, rectangle, which can be a square if all the sides are the same, or it's just a rectangle if the sides are not the same, and a triangle. Now these are the shapes, and they are 2D. Then they become forms, which are 3D. And most of the objects in your house that we're going to start off with are based on these basic shapes. So when you make a circle 3 dimensions, it can become a sphere, just like a ball. For example, an orange or a grapefruit is about a sphere. It's a little bit, not perfect, but it's close. Or it can be a cylinder, like a jar, or this tea strainer. Rectangles become boxes. Like this. And triangles become different things, including a pyramid. This pyramid has a square on the bottom, but it could also be a triangle on the bottom or a different shape. Or if you have a circle on the bottom, but then a triangle on top, you get a cone. Now, things in your house might not be cones, but they might be partial cones. Like for instance, this mug here, if you drew a cone, and then erase the top part, get this shape. So try to find some things in your house that relate to these forms. So for instance, boxes. This is a cylinder. Here's another box. Partial cone. Okay, now we're going to focus on ellipses and diamonds. Now, using ellipses and diamonds helps us draw 3-dimensional forms. So an ellipsis is basically a smushed circle, and a diamond will be a smushed rectangle. So this is basically a circle. If you look at it straight on, it's a circle. However, when you start to change your angle, the shape of it changes. Here's a pretty perfect circle, and as you move it, it starts to get more and more smushed. See, if you're looking at it from this angle, it looks like the ellipse I drew at the top. And if you look at it straight on, it just becomes a straight line. This is at your eye level. If you're looking down on something completely all the way, standing right over it, it looks like this. But if you move it below you, it starts to look like that. This is at eye level, and then you start to move it above you, you see it from the other side. We do the same thing if we're drawing a cylinder. Now, if you're looking at it straight down, it's a circle. If you look at it straight at eye level, this just becomes a straight line. But then, if you do it at an angle, this becomes an ellipse. So, Right now, this jar looks kind of like this. Then if I go like that, it's got an ellipse at the top and an ellipse at the bottom. If you put it more at an angle, then the circle, the ellipse is a little bigger, like this. So see how it changes from a straight line to a very smushed ellipse to a less smushed ellipse. And then if you look at it directly like this, then the whole jar just looks like a circle. Now I'm going to show you diamonds. So if you look at a box straight on, then all you see is a rectangle. If you start to tilt it down, you start to see a diamond shape on the top. Now, if you're looking at it from above, it's a pure rectangle. But if you look at it almost from eye level, then you're going to have a very smushed diamond. Like that. Now, the way I like to draw a box is I first like to start with the diamond on the top. Then I draw 3 lines down from the corners, and then I connect them. So this should be at an angle, this should be at angles. A lot of times people will draw a box and they'll draw the diamond, and then they'll draw the 3 lines, and then they'll make it flat on the bottom. They also do that with a cylinder. They'll draw the ellipse and then make it flat on the bottom. Please, please, please do not do this. Make sure you add the curve and you add the angle. And that's going to give you more realistic forms. Okay, now we're going to draw some imaginary objects before we draw some real objects. Okay, so we're going to pretend we have a really long imaginary cylinder. If you're looking at it straight at eye level, it's going to look like a straight line. Then after that, it's going to be a smushed ellipse. And then as it goes down, it gets wider and wider. Then on the top, it's the same thing. It's very smushed. Okay, so practice drawing this. Start with a straight line and then let your ellipse get wider and wider and wider, so the tops and the bottoms are still not pure circles, but sort of smushed circles, right? Because you can see it's still not a circle, but it is wider than this. Now find a real cylinder in your house and let's practice drawing it. Now we're going to draw some imaginary objects, and we're going to start with a center line. Then the top's going to be an ellipse. So this one's kind of like a bottle. Now, it should be equal, see? And this is not really equal. So you can use center line to help you get a more equal. So that's a little bit too wide over here. right, let's try another imaginary one. This time we'll do like a glass. So just make sure that it's centered. Okay, now let's draw some real objects. So we'll try drawing this jar. I'm going to give myself that center line again. Then you start at the top with your ellipse. Then it's got these parts that go down. Got a curve, right? This has to be a curve. Then it's got a little bump. It goes down. It's got a little bump. Okay, so now let's kind of fix it up a little bit. Make sure it's even. Okay. So even a little ellipse in there. Even the bottom is a smushed circle, right? It's an ellipse. If you draw the same thing, but at a different angle, it's going to look different, right? Let's see. Okay. So now take an object and draw it 3 different ways from 3 different angles. So I always add the details at the end. I get the basic shape first, and then I add the details. If you do it the other way around, if you add the details first, you're going to spend so much time doing the details, but the basic shape could be completely wrong and you have to redo the whole thing. So it's actually better to do the basic shape first and then add your details. Okay, now we're going to draw some imaginary boxes. So why don't you draw 3 imaginary boxes. So start with the diamond on the top, then draw 3 lines, then connect the lines. And you can make them different sizes and shapes. So now go ahead and find a box in your house and draw it 3 different times from different angles. Just keep erasing it till you get it right.